It's okay to not be okay, but you really should be okay because everything is going to be okay. And when it's not okay, you'll be okay, and you're going to have to be okay with that. Here's a photo to kind of give you scale of that piece. And it's hard to be okay all the time, isn't it? And that's why I work so hard to simply remind myself and anyone that'll listen that even when things aren't great, aren't perfect, it's still okay. I love to create the unexpected. It could be because I was always a prankster when I was younger, and instead of jumping out and terrifying people, I found it way more fun to quietly slap up a sticker and delight people. Creating the unexpected is what I enjoy doing. Since 2002, we've made this sticker, and as of this year, we've printed 3 million of these stickers. The sticker is meant to blend in with other labels and signage in the world, to be hiding in plain sight, and right at the right moment, just pop out. And the idea is that you can then take that message however you need to in that moment. 3 million stickers, end to end of these tiny 2-inch wide stickers, that's 100 miles. That's roughly here to Milwaukee, 100 miles of positivity. They've been posted on every continent, including the Antarctica, and every major city and small towns in between, all thanks to the amazing community around the project. We've translated it into 100 different languages so that no matter how you say it, it's always true. And we've received thousands upon thousands of letters to your P.O. box over the years. Actual physical mail from pen pals all around the globe. Here's a batch of letters from an elementary class from New Mexico. The one in the front says, "I love waffles and I love your stickers." People use them as travel companions. At Square says, "Good thing I brought some Yab stickers with me to London. Glad I had one to give as thanks for the amazing Indian food at Sonita's Kitchen." And here's a recent post by Morgan Martinez. "Would like to know who's responsible for putting these all around and if their job title is Debatable Heartbreaker." And what this photo shows is that it doesn't just stop at stickers. We've created over 20 large installations in Chicago alone, as well as many more around the globe over the years. And my favorite part is to look at the spread across the entire city of Chicago. Most recent installations are more permanent, but early on they were quite temporary. And even with a few cups and a fence, the results can be rather unexpected. You have no idea what happens when you put yourself out into the world. When I put this cup fence up on an early Sunday morning, I had no idea that I was starting a 2-month-long conversation with the community. It lasted about a week and was changed to bad. So I kind of thought that would be it, but then someone changed it to beat, and never. And at this point, someone went and got more cups, because there weren't that many cups to begin with. So you are forever a fever. You are a lover. You are over. You are loved, disappointed, rejuvenated. And like that, it disappeared with just a few cups left over from the conversation. And if you take this giant sticker on Lakeshore Drive, the idea is here, if you've ever been going through your day and said, "World, just give me a break," here you go, have it. Here I just want to set the stage and present an unexpected moment, and you can take it however you need to. And if you asked 100 different people what they thought about the message, you'd likely get 100 different answers, and to me, that's the most interesting part. But to back up a little, this hasn't always been a smooth process. This is the first installation ever. Incredibly unimpressive. I didn't even have all the letters. I'm missing 2 U's. I was terrified to put it up, and I didn't even think it would last the night, but it's still there some 14 years later, holding strong, and you can see it on Google Street View. It reminds me that you never know what will happen when you finally work up the courage to put yourself out there. And sometimes the unexpected isn't always a great thing. I easily spent 2 weeks on this piece. 3 coats of varnish, countersunk pre-drilled holes, I perfected it. I actually remember sanding the edges a few extra times, realizing that if someone would get a splinter from touching the piece, how that might change the message for them. And it was such an adrenaline rush to go out and do something you knew you weren't supposed to be doing, and how people were going to get a kick out of it. I snapped this photo as we were driving away. I was so pumped at how much good this was going to do out into the world. And I rode back on my bike an hour later to find it gone. Someone later emailed saying they had the piece on their living room wall, and they weren't going to return it, BTW. So I learned from my mistakes and just made the letters bigger. And every installation has been like that. Maybe not perfect, but good enough shipped and out into the world. You can refine as you go, but if you keep it all inside, that's where it'll stay. From school signs to fences and more fences and other fences and even more fences. I mean, there are a lot of fences in this world. So let's at least have them say something nice. With a recent Kickstarter, we were overfunded. So we took some of that money and created an installation free of charge in an area that otherwise wouldn't be able to afford it. I know I drive my bookkeeper insane with this, but I feel that it's this unexpected generosity that can truly change the world. And you can probably see that public art is really important to me. And the biggest thing is that it's out there in the public space and anyone can come across it. And hopefully it breaks you out of your rut and changes your day. Art has the power to change environments and change lives. And it's there for everyone. We get lost in our daily lives, busy with work and stress. Others become annoyances. Other drivers, other passengers on the train. You blast by homeless people asking for money. You look at the person in the checkout line like they're the enemy. You don't make eye contact with people because they might try to sell you something, take advantage of you, or somehow just annoy you, which makes a moment like this so refreshing. And to present this message as big and as bold as possible, to make sure that you know that it's not a mistake or a typo, and that your day can be whatever, until something grabs you unexpectedly and shakes you, kind of slaps you in the face, if there was a good way to slap someone in the face. And create a moment to be yourself. And that's the big thing, creating these unexpected moments in this busy world to give people time to be themselves for just a second. I'd love to share with you all the hilarious and heartfelt reactions to every installation, but we'll look at just this one in Chinatown, in English and Mandarin. I took this photo as we were cleaning up. We weren't even gone yet, and people were already snapping photos. It's been so fun to see people grabbing selfies in front of it, and this one is awesome. It was a boomerang video that just kept repeating, them jumping up and down. These are just a few of the more artsy ones. And it's obviously having an impact and people are having fun. Look at these guys, they can't even contain themselves. Here's a whole class of kids dabbing. But it doesn't stop at that phrase, because anything is possible if you turn your dreams into reality. Outside of the You Are Beautiful world, I use Hey as Matthew as a more creative playground, a way to keep it fresh and to try out experimental ideas. And these things inform each other, and it's also a good way to see what works and what doesn't. And these are the projects I love, a way to get your hands dirty, to bring a community together, and to create something. I normally enjoy the process much more than the final result, and this was certainly the case. Go For It was to be a temporary installation for a few months, and after getting it up, the community has loved it and taken care of it, and it's lasted for years. Again, the power of public art and a positive message. It's like holding a boombox over your head and literally going for it with no turning back. Here you can see that scale is a really important thing, and this made an awesome chair. But sometimes it's the little things. I just like making random signs. Be kinder than previous day, management. I mean, wouldn't that be great if these were everywhere? We're so used to seeing signs like this that tell us what we can't do, that someone did something wrong at some point and now we all have to pay the penalty. And for me, it's walking around where unexpected inspiration like this happens. My work is normally a reaction to the world that I live in, and ideas are everywhere. Because it all comes from the idea. But what no one tells you is that follows is all the hard work, the late nights, the early mornings, the blood, sweat, and tears, and all the things that make it happen. The idea is the easy part. It's the constant hard work that's the challenge. I was commissioned to create this piece behind the circulation desk at the public library in Edgewater. It's one of the first things you're greeted with when you walk in the door, and I wanted to help shape the welcoming process and encourage discovery. It says, find everyday adventures every day. Life is an adventure if you let it be. And I wanted it to spill out and wrap around corners into the rest of the library and hopefully inspire visitors to remember why they're there. Because when it comes down to it, I just make stuff. And that's the answer every time, at least for me. When I'm stuck on a project, instead of putting it off, I just make. It doesn't have to be perfect or the end thing, but just something to battle against those forces in your brain telling you that you're not good enough. Prove them wrong. And I've always said over-perfection is procrastination. So you make decisions with the information that you have right now, and you can make it better in the future or on the next thing, but if you don't do anything now, you'll never get anywhere. I'm always looking for fun ways to interact on a daily basis. And in comes this daily calendar. It's a stack of 365 thoughts. This year had an extra one. And it's my absolute new favorite project because I keep it really fun. I write it all in one day, so it's kind of a blur. And then the next year is a constant surprise and unveiling to me. And the year acts like a story, one day building off the next. A Wednesday said, watch me work, so of course Thursday said, watch me nay-nay. I'm creating moments to be yourself. And it's so fun to see people interact with it every day. This person travels with their sock monkey and is often checking out the calendar. Sometimes the monkey even takes it along on grand adventures. And every day, the calendar block gets whittled down. When I was younger, I lacked confidence and didn't really know how to share my voice. And now I put it out there. And while it can be scary and exhausting at some times, I always find it worth it. And I have to work hard to break out of these comfort zones. Because if you don't, life can be really boring. And so I prefer magical thinking, doing the impossible, and throwing in a healthy dose of what I call positive pranks. Like a fortune cookie, this calendar is strangely accurate, with an uncanny ability to be helpful, rewarding, or to make you laugh. And while this isn't a huge installation or statement, just because something's small doesn't mean it can't deliver a powerful moment. This one's for all you type nerds out there. Pretty sure my mom called that morning to ask what kerning was. So go for it has been a very popular phrase that I've worked with for some time. And now keep going has sprung up as another life goal. I put this in the sand on the beach one morning. And do you see that wave coming in the background? I kid you not. The lake grabbed the piece and took off with it. And you can look at that two ways, a defeating loss and failure. Or the other way, that piece literally just kept going. So I made it a tad bigger this past month at an exhibition in Iowa. And again, it's always so much fun to see people in the photos to get a sense of scale. Because I feel like if you're going to say something, say it large. I was asked to create a piece for the Cards Against Humanity's new space. And Max said that his father always said, when you go through life, it's nice to be important. But remember, it's also important to be nice. I'd never heard that phrase and was absolutely in love with it. So I created a piece that shared the word important. And you can change the lighting depending on how you're feeling. Important to be nice, nice to be important, back and forth as our feelings change every day. And what I've been trying to get across is that words have power. They can grow hate and disruption, or they can offer endless encouragement. And it's interesting what a few well-placed words can do. Stop making. Could you imagine if that's all that said? It'd be such a bummer. Of course it said never. When Facebook was opening their new offices, they asked for something to keep people inspired every day. And I'd love to see the stats if people closer to the piece were more productive than on the other side of the room. But it's fun to push things, to make things, and to try to go beyond anything that you've done before. Like I've never driven one of these things, but I'm always up for the challenge. And gone are the funny stories of everything going horribly wrong. We've figured out how to deliver powerful universal works, figuring out new ways to manufacture them with new technologies and machines that we've acquired, and getting those works out into the world in unique ways. And each time we come up with something new that clearly references the past, but also pushes a new idea or manufacturing process. Because if it's not a challenge, what's the point? Like this stencil, for instance. I didn't know if we could make a building-sized stencil. Turns out, with enough hands, you can. And I give my team all the credit. It takes a lot of ready minds to make big ideas happen, but also a sort of wildness to believe that your crazy ideas are possible and worth putting them out into the world. Because it takes a team to do more with less. And if you're going to say something, say it as loud as you can. This is one of over 40 billboards we did in the Niagara Falls region in New York. And these are just a few images that I found online before visiting. And these were my favorite shots. The ones on the move. You can feel the panic as someone rapidly looks for their phone, opens a camera setting, and tries to get a shot over the passing car next to them. Roofs of cars getting in the way as they zip by, and people are snapping these photos and wondering why it's there. I get asked why a lot. I made this sticker to say, you don't need to do anything different. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to try to be anyone else than who you are. Be yourself, and that's enough. The great philosophers, the Beastie Boys, said it best. Be true to yourself, and you will never fall. And while this message is positive, I don't want you to think that it's a silly or hippie-ish laid-back message. This is, in a way, a protest. It's a flag planted sternly in the ground. It's a battle cry against negativity. I've definitely done some dumb things in my life, said rude things that hurt feelings and broke hearts. As I've gotten older, I've decided there's enough negativity in the world. I'm simply not going to add to it. And it's caught on. It's engaged a community excited about doing unexpected things for others. And the community is truly responsible for catapulting this idea and spreading this message globally. And at some point, I became an unexpectedly reluctant business owner. For a long time, this was a passion project. I worked a full-time job and did this on nights and weekends. And one winter, Oprah's people reached out and asked if they could do a short piece on the project. At that point, I simply had a PayPal button on the site that said, click here, type in $5 for 20 stickers, throw on a few more dollars for shipping, maybe a couple extra dollars if you're international. It was really crude. And the morning the piece aired, we suddenly had thousands and thousands of clicks on that PayPal button in a few short minutes. I think I had like 500 stickers sitting on a shelf. We had to take the button off the site, and I have no background in business. Every dollar in had gone right back into the project, sticker by sticker. It's all been as DIY as you can get. We eventually got it all figured out and now have an easy-to-use and flourishing website and backend that can handle it all. It was a hard lesson learned, and now if it happened again, it would be a piece of cake. And it's always a fun challenge to learn new things. I just wish it wasn't such an intensive crash course. But it's been so much fun. We now have ambassadors of the message who are wearing the shirts and shoes and spreading the signs and stickers and being an active part and supporting us, the project, and helping this unexpected business be self-reliant with the goal to simply spread a positive message around the globe. And it's a fun challenge to come up with inventive new ways to interject the message in daily life. I've never been more excited and giddy than these car decals. We found a company who manufactures these, and I asked, can you make them say anything? I mean, can you imagine stuck in traffic, feeling road rage, glaring at the car in front of you, and below Prius, it says this? It's hilarious. And we keep it fun, and of course we have badges for official sticker putter-uppers. And my favorite is our monthly sticker club. It's one sticker a day to remind you to do something nice every day. And it keeps you on track. If you're going to work or the store, or you're trying to get out of your own funk or get over yourself, to do something super tiny to potentially make someone else feel a whole lot better. And it's fun and always lifts my spirits. It makes life a daily adventure. That paying it forward to the next person is almost an addictive act. Stacy Vitalo created the hashtag Sticker of the Year and has posted a photo every single day with a sticker. I don't know how she does it. I'm not even able to post something every day. But the global community has taken a life of its own. We receive letters that this sticker has made their day, brightened their commute to work, or made peeing in a public bathroom an inspiring experience. And it also goes to the other end of the spectrum, with letters telling us how this sticker literally saved their life, that they happened across it in an extremely rough day, and in that low moment were brought back up by just a few random words from a stranger. Your words have power. And I still giggle when I put stickers up, thinking about someone in a terrible mood, just cussing and steaming, rounding a corner, seeing this sticker, and just smacks them into a good mood, a positive prank. I was recently giving a podcast, and I was asked if this global phenomenon was planned. It wasn't. If I was overwhelmed and amazed, I am. And why it was so popular and unexpected. And in that moment, it hit me. And I said, it's kind of sad that it's so unexpected. That doing nice things for other people is a surprise. That being human to each other isn't the norm. I mean, it certainly happens, but not as much as we would like it. I've always said this project isn't going to change the entire world, but it does have the power to change someone's world, and that's enough for me. I'll close things out with this installation in Boston from this year. It's one of my absolute favorites. It's a train of thought, a flow of consciousness, a run-on sentence. It's a great example of unexpectedness, putting your ideas out there, and persevering to keep going. This installation took many forms. Several alternatives became too costly and too intensive to have it manufactured in another city. So frustrated, but inspired one night, after realizing that months of planning and work had gone down the drain, I pulled out some paper and with a Sharpie wrote out these thoughts. The next morning, I scanned in those Sharpie sentences, and a few weeks later it became this. The installation is well over 300 feet long, close to the length of a football field. You couldn't possibly capture it in one photo or in one moment. It takes a few minutes to walk the entire piece. And much like a conversation, you can find bits of thoughts along the way. So I'll simply read that to you now. Nothing's for keeps, except that we must keep going. You'll spend your entire life searching, okay? We all want to belong, so let's all get along. Make the most and hope. May this never end. Thank you.